Hello and welcome to biology class. In previous few videos, we are studying about systematics, taxonomy, different terms included in taxonomy. In today's video, we will shift little bit away from all these taxonomical things and study something different called as nomenclature. Now, nomenclature means giving name to the organism. Giving any name to the organism is termed as nomenclature. Now, when we consider nomenclature, like just a ant is walking and we call it ant, that is also a nomenclature giving name to the organism. But when we come to the scientific, come across the scientific knowledge, there are basically it is considered as there are basically two methods for naming the organism, two methods of nomenclature. One method is called as vernacular nomenclature and another method is called as the scientific nomenclature. Now let us try and understand each method of nomenclature in details. Now when we consider vernacular nomenclature is nothing but local names to the organisms. Now mango plant, we call it as a amba in Marathi, that will be its vernacular nomenclature. So vernacular nomenclature is the normal name, local name to the organism. While on the other hand, scientific name is obviously scientific name. And scientific name there are two methods of giving scientific name to the organism. The old method was called as the polynomial nomenclature. Poly means many and nomial means many names. We will learn this method little bit in detail after some time. And another method which is used today, it is called as binomial nomenclature. So basically there are two scientific methods for naming any organism: polynomial nomenclature and binomial nomenclature. And normally whatever local languages, Marathi, Hindi, English, whatever local languages we use to give name to the organism are called as vernacular nomenclature. Let us study each this system in details. Let us first start with vernacular nomenclature. Now when I consider vernacular nomenclature is, as I told you, local names or giving common names to the organism. Now we give so many local names to the so many different organisms. Now for example, let us consider our local language, Marathi or Hindi. There are whatever organisms found around us, we give name to them. We are having every organism, we are having local name in our local languages. Okay, so these names are specifically very simple and everyone around our locality know that name. So these names are basically having some advantages. The advantages, like these are very short names. For example, for mango plant we call it as amba. It's very short, sweet, simple name. Then we all are familiar with that names and they are easy to follow. Okay, so these are the advantages of giving some local names to the organisms. On the other hand, it is having lot of or many number of disadvantages, many number of drawbacks when we come to the scientific study. For scientific study, these local names, these vernacular names are very difficult to use. Now let us see drawbacks one by one. Now first drawback of giving local name, giving vernacular name, is all organisms have not been named. For example, have you seen kiwi fruit? Okay, that kiwi plant is basically never found in India. So in any Indian language, we don't have any local name for it. Okay, we don't have name in Marathi, we don't have its name in Hindi, in Kannada, in any Indian language we don't have name for kiwi. Okay, so likewise some organisms which are not found in surrounding area never been named. Okay, so this is the first drawback. Now the second drawback is different names in different parts of the world. For example, best example is mango tree. We call it as amba. In English called as a mango. In Hindi called as aam. So different parts of the word, different names. Okay. The third drawback is single common name may include several organisms. Now try to understand. Now in Hindi we call butterflies as a titli. Agree? Butterflies are called as titli in Hindi. But titli include butterfly also, moth also. So there is, like, suppose I said it is a titli. Then no one will understand whether it is a moth or whether it is butterfly or whether it is some other insect. Okay. So it is a little bit, it include many organisms in the same name. Okay. Now next drawback is common names are misleading. It is a fact. Common names are always misleading. Let me give you example. In English we call starfish. Everyone knows starfish? Okay. We call the starfish, when we consider, it is not a fish. It is an echinodermata. It is not a fish. So when I heard starfish for the first time, what I will think, it must be fish, but it is not a fish. Misleading. Okay. Then another example is cattlefish. Cattlefish is another organism which also do not come under fish. It come under mollusca. So all of them we are calling fish, but they are not fish. Okay. So likewise, these common names are misleading. The fifth drawback is some organisms may have different names in the same country. India is the best example for it. We are having several languages, and in several languages in the same country we are giving different names to the same plant. As I gave you example of mango, aam, amba. In Kannada must be calling something different. So likewise, several names in same country. So vernacular name, they are easy, they are short, they are easy to understand, but there are several drawbacks. So because of all these drawbacks, scientifically we cannot use vernacular nomenclature. So scientifically we use scientific nomenclature. So when we consider scientific nomenclature is basically two types. One is polynomial nomenclature. So let us understand polynomial nomenclature first, and then we'll shift to the next nomenclature, that is binomial nomenclature. Now polynomial nomenclature is the old system of nomenclature. It is not used today. It is old system of naming organism. Now it is used long back before 1750. It is long back used. Nowadays it is not at all in used. Okay. Now it is very difficult and lengthy system. Now it name only indicates. See, poly means many. Poly means what? Many. Nominal. Polynomial means many names. Many names. So in single name, to name a single small bacteria, I need to write 5 different names. Okay, 5 different words. To name small algae, small fungus, small bacteria, I need to use such a long 5 different words. And so it is so difficult to use, so inconvenient to use, even inconvenient to write, inconvenient to remember. So shortly, this system is out of the way. It is not used afterward. So binomial nomenclature is the system which we use today, and we are going to study that system in detail. So let us begin studying binomial nomenclature. Now when we consider binomial nomenclature, this system was first given by a scientist called as Carolus Linnaeus. Now Carolus Linnaeus, this name will come again and again because in biology his contribution is like no other. He is having huge contribution to study biology. Okay, so Carolus Linnaeus is this credit for binomial nomenclature is also go to the Carolus Linnaeus. Now he gave the whole system in a scientific book, and name of the book is Species Plantarum. So this is very important question. It come for your MCQ many times. So remember the book in which binomial nomenclature is given, and that book is written by Carlos Linnaeus, and the book name is Species Plantarum, and book written in 1753. So after 1753, this system is only in use. So in this book, basically, he gave all rules and regulations which should be followed while giving the binomial nomenclature to an organism. So right now we will go ahead and study all these rules and regulations. So rules of the binomial nomenclature. What he did, he made a list of the rules and how the organism is named, how the plant or animal is named according to that binomial name. He gave that names also, and he is the one. He was really a great scientist. He was the one who named around more than 90% of plants and animals he himself. Okay, and remaining 10% are given by others. So in 1753, 90% work was already done, and the rest of the 10% work was done by other people. So let us go and study rules for the binomial nomenclature. So the first rule, see, binomial, bi means two. See, nomenclature is binomial, bi means two, nomial means two names. Okay, so the name consists of two words. Okay, now these two either called as words, either called as two parts, or either called as two epithets. Remember this. So the first rule of binomial nomenclature is the name consists of two words or two parts or two epithets. Understanding? Now next rule, name consists of Latin or Latinized Greek words. See, the whatever two words we are using, they should be either in Latin or Latinized Greek. They are not in English, they are not in any other language. They are only in Latin and little bit advanced language called as Latinized Greek language. Okay, no other language is used for the binomial nomenclature. Third rule, and very important rule, two names among which first name is called as generic name. First name is called as generic name. It comes first, obviously. It should be the simple noun and it should begin with capital letter. Now let us take one example and try to understand it. So the mango plant name is Magnifera indica. Let me write it. Magnifera indica. It is a binomial name for mango plant. Here Magnifera is the generic name. It will come first. Its first letter is capital and it is simple noun. Then next name is the specific name. Specific name obviously come after the generic name, and it is descriptive objective, and it begin with the small letter. So here indica starts with small I. Got it? So Magnifera indica is a name of a mango plant, and rules are followed in this. Okay. Then next rule, both the names are if handwritten. I am here writing by hand, so I should underline each name separately. Magnifera separately and indica separately. See, if handwritten, separately underline. And if I am typing the name, I should use the italic font for it and should be printed in italic. So it is easy for understand. So 4 rules. Name consists of 2 words. Latin, it should be in Latin or Latinized Greek language. Generic name come first, simple noun, begin with capital letter. Specific name come later on, it should be descriptive objective, and it begin with small letter. Both the names should be separately underlined when we handwritten them. Okay. Now next rule, this is the 5th rule. Generic name as well as specific name should have letters between 3 or 13. Any name should not exceed from 13 letters word or should not be lesser than 3 letter word. Now again I am taking the same example of Magnifera indica. I am writing here again. Magnifera indica. Count the letters. Count the number of letters in Magnifera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So less than 13, more than 3. Indica 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Less than 13, more than 3. Got it? So rules are followed. And again, one rule I am not following over here, underline them separately. Got it? Now let us go to the sixth point. Now here you need to understand properly. One term he introduced is called as citation. Now citation means mentioning author's name after scientific name. So who gave this name? Magnifera indica. Now this name is given by Carolus Linnaeus itself. So if I write L, then I understand L in bracket over here. I understand that Linnaeus gave this name. Carolus Linnaeus gave this name. So this mentioning the author's name in the bracket after the scientific name, this thing is called as citation. Understanding? But citation thing is not compulsory nowadays. If someone want to write, someone can write, or if it is not written, also fine. But remember this term citation, mentioning author's name after scientific name. Whether it is written full or whether it is written abbreviated, as I wrote abbreviated. Okay. The seventh important term is synonyms. Now what happened? Try to understand. When Carolus Linnaeus gave 90% of the names, then afterward also people started giving name to the organisms, scientific name to the different organisms. And during that period, sometime there was a repetition of names. Means I here named or Carolus Linnaeus named mango plant as Magnifera indica, but some other scientists in other part of the world was not knowing that this name is given, so he gave some another name to the same plant. So two names for the same plant, synonyms. Okay, two scientific names for the same plants. But here they placed a rule afterward. Two names we cannot take. There should be one name for the one organism, then only it will be accepted. Agree? So the first author who gave the name is accepted, second author's name is not accepted. So synonyms is a big issue, big problem faced by the scientists in the binomial nomenclature, and afterward it is solved. Understanding? So one organism is named differently by two different scientists is synonyms. Okay. So this is all about rules. 7 rules. Remember this. Okay. Citation and synonyms. Remember both the names. Now let us consider advantages of binomial nomenclature. First of all scientists accepted this nomenclature system, so it became universally accepted. So every name is meaningful, precise, and standard. It avoid confusion. Okay, it's easy to understand and remember, and help understanding relationship between different group of organisms. Okay, so this is about binomial nomenclature. Try to understand it properly and remember the rules of binomial nomenclature. So in this video we have studied vernacular nomenclature method, its advantages and disadvantages, remember them properly. Then we have studied polynomial nomenclature method and binomial nomenclature method. Which one is accepted today? Binomial, correct? And remember the rules which are there for the binomial nomenclature. Now tell me, who gave this system of binomial nomenclature? And in which book? Carolus Linnaeus in Species Plantarum book. When? 1750. And what is synonym and citation? So this is all about the scientific nomenclature of organisms, and this is very important question for your short notes also, as well as for your MCQs also. So study well and see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye, take care.